Hey guys, I'm Chris from Polkadot Insider. It's really nice to have a special guest, Johnathan from Talisman, Cofounder of Talisman. How are you doing today?
I'm really well. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, so before we go in our introduction, can you have a brief introduction about yourself and what your background before going to crypto full time?
Of course. I'm Johnathan. I'm one of the co-founders of Talisman. Before going into crypto full time, I was at university. This has been my only job. I entered crypto in the third year of studying computer science at the University of Melbourne, where I started to get involved in the Ethereum and Web3 ecosystem in Melbourne, and quickly started to kind of help run those events. And from that, I started working at a venture studio called Flex Dapps, where we would kind of build wallets or DeFi protocols for clients. And that business actually evolved into Talisman in 2021.
Okay.
So yeah, most of my, all of my professional career has been spent in Web3.
Yeah, me too. Like before crypto projects, crypto Polkadot Insider and stuff. I also at university as well. Yeah, it's really nice to be the first job as Web3 industry, right? And it's really surprising that you live in Thailand right now. So, what made you come to Thailand, and what do you think about Thailand market in terms of Web3 industry?
Yeah, I'm in Thailand not for any professional or like career reasons. My partner, who I've been with for a long time in Australia, is originally from here. So when she decided to move back home, I thought I would join her. And I haven't been in Thailand a very long time, so I'm kind of still learning about the market here and how Web3 differs here compared to Australia and Europe, where I've spent a lot of time recently. So it's going to be exciting to learn. But definitely I get a feeling that Australia and Europe and places that I've been to is quite focused on decentralized finance. Some of the kind of projects in Ethereum that are focused there. But here it's there's more of a leaning towards different onboarding methods, like decentralized gaming. And yeah, I guess there's just a preference for different products in this market, and that's a really interesting thing to learn about.
Okay, so actually I got a really interesting question because I observed that all the Talisman team before is very introvert, right? But right now, your team members is showing up on all the podcasts of the whole Polkadot channel. So what made you doing that?
That's a good question. I suppose we've never been really focused on marketing and really focused on outreach. It's something that always happened naturally. So when we started Talisman, we had a core community of alpha testers to help us develop the software, and that turned into our first community. And we had a lot of outreach, kind of organically, kind of through that. And we never really poured much time and effort into a lot of this kind of marketing and outreach work inside of the business. And we've realized recently that we probably should do more of this. So now we've just made more of a conscious effort to do these kinds of meetings.
So how did you come up with building Talisman by using Polkadot SDK?
It's a long story. It actually goes back to that period of time where I was still studying computer science and kind of running events for Web3 in Melbourne. It was November of 2018, and we had Aaron Buchanan from the Web3 Foundation visit Melbourne. And we ran and met with him, and he kind of showed us a presentation about kind of the very early concept of what Polkadot should be. He had a really basic slide deck that showed, that you had this relay chain, a parachain model. There were going to be all these different entities like collators and fishermen and validators, and that was how it was going to work. And we were pretty interested in it immediately because as kind of folks coming from a software engineering background and understanding about kind of abstractions in code, moving from a single chain model, which was Ethereum at the time, to something that was kind of a little bit more scalable and versatile, which was this vision of relay chain and parachains that he was describing. I said, wow, this definitely seems like the next step, like the next abstraction in network design. And that was kind of back then in 2018. So that was always a fondness towards the Polkadot vision amongst the team. So when when we were a few years into building Ethereum wallets, Ethereum DeFi protocols as a venture studio, the opportunity came to us to build a wallet for the Polkadot ecosystem. It seemed like the merging of two great motivations, which was we'd always enjoyed building wallets and building kind of novel user experiences, and we were always quite nerd sniped about the vision that Polkadot presented. So that's why we decided to jump in and build something for Substrate or Polkadot SDK.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We should do that. So is it hard to building stuff by using Polkadot SDK, because there are a lot of people that are so like comment on Twitter's X right now that okay, Polkadot SDK is like hell. And what do you think about that?
It's definitely more challenging in some ways.
Yeah.
Ethereum had been around for still a short amount of time, but comparatively a lot longer than Substrate at that point. So there was just comparatively less tooling available to wallet teams like us to interact with chains. Parachains didn't exist when we started building Talisman. So there was all of these kind of teething issues on being able to grow a wallet that can support over 150 different networks. And there was just not, we had to kind of build all of the tooling that could help us deliver that service. So I think it was a challenge derived from the fact that it was new. Polkadot is a really nascent ecosystem.
Right.
And that's nice. I suppose if you could draw like a line around why it's challenging, it's probably because it's so new. But there are so many opportunities in building with Polkadot SDK that you don't get in like a smart contract platform that makes it different.
So in terms of Talisman perspective, so what are the current limitations of Web3 wallet right now in the market?
Web3 wallets, maybe a limitation is that they're quite general. If you look at how Web3 wallets have always been, we start with MetaMask, and then you go to products like Talisman, and then you go to even like account abstraction wallets now. They're generally supporting every single possible type of application. You can use Talisman to connect to anything from DeFi protocol to a Web3 game to like an NFT marketplace. It's a general purpose tool. So it has a feature set that's really, really wide, but not really deep in some areas. So if you're looking for an experience that's like really curated and specific to the gaming experience, the current kind of crop of wallets is limited to serve that really specific use case, because we do everything quite well instead of one thing really, really, really well.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to know, because a blockchain need a lot of user base, right? So what do you think about the user base in Polkadot right now, and maybe how Talisman can solve this problem in any way?
The user base of Polkadot now, I suppose, is it's just the early adopters.
Yeah.
Parachains are really new, and a lot of the projects are still on this phase where they've shipped the protocol or kind of the set of functionality that they were intending to ship, and now they need to really bootstrap some user growth. So we found that the users that are here at the moment in this kind of really early phase are the ones that really believe in the vision that Polkadot's presenting with like a multi-chain heterogeneous ecosystem. And the challenge, I suppose, is articulating this idea to the wider community and to try to bootstrap some of this growth and to get like a network effect going.
Okay. So
that's tricky.
Okay, so now let's talk more about Talisman wallet. So right now there are several wallets that supporting Polkadot. So how Talisman differentiated from these modern wallet?
Yeah. I can answer this in two ways. Firstly, kind of generally, I think Talisman have always been the team to kind of be on the frontier of product development. I think we were the team to kind of pioneer the current portfolio kind of management experience that every Polkadot wallet has now selected. We've kind of always been reasonably uncompromising on how a wallet should look and feel. And that's like this product rigor that we think is our job to provide to the ecosystem. And specifically at the moment, I think, the latest iteration of that is in our account management model, where we've shipped a lot of interesting kind of abstractions there recently around grouping accounts into folders, managing a wallet that has kind of an arbitrary number of seed phrases so that you can use some really kind of complex and nuanced and personalized account management inside of Talisman. And I think that's, stands out as a differentiated kind of feature set at the moment.
I heard that you guys are having a large version of Talisman is coming up, right? And what are you building on that, and how you decided to build these features?
Yeah, so we recently released a version of the Talisman extension, version 1.19, but there was a little bit of internal debate in the team that this should just be called Talisman 2.0 because it was such a kind of a big change from what we had previously. Where previously we had a wallet that, from the account management perspective, was quite similar to what had come before in terms of MetaMask. You signed up, you were given a wallet before you even entered the full experience, and you were just handed the seed phrase and you had to do something with it, and it was quite a narrow channel that you were forced into. And then from there, it was quite difficult to say, look, I want to create 5 or 10 other wallets that are separate from one another on chain, because I'm doing some work with the DAO that I want to be separate from my personal wallets, and I want that to be separate from something else that I'm doing. And we recognize this in kind of the user patterns that we saw in Talisman, that actually the current pattern of just onboarding into a wallet and being given something and then actually not being able to get out of that didn't work. So in Talisman 1.19 or Talisman 2.0, there are a few kind of different abstractions that we've chosen that help serve this really enthusiastic user that we're starting to see a lot of. So you can firstly create multiple accounts from multiple different seed phrases. Import an account from a ledger or a decent wallet or a parity signer. You can create an arbitrary number of seed phrases. So in a model where everything is self-custodied and you have control over the accounts that you're kind of using on chain, Talisman lets you do whatever you want. There's no kind of funneling into a particular self-custody model in Talisman at the moment. And when you end up in a position where you have lots of different wallets, or lots of different accounts inside of the same wallet, you think the portfolio view is a bit redundant now because I can see everything in one view, but actually that's an amalgamation of some accounts that I have that are related to my personal wallets, some accounts that I have that are related to my work as part of a community or in a DAO. I might be part of an on-chain organization where I'm a signer on some multi-sig wallets, and those are totally separate. So we've decided to allow the user to kind of group their accounts, group their key pairs into folders. So now you can almost have different profiles within the one browser extension. So you can switch your context in using it from I'm not Chris, the DAO contributor, and that's the assets I see. I'm now Chris, the individual, and you can kind of cycle through these profiles by changing folders.
I'm also very interested in cross-chain feature, right? So can you talk more about that?
Yeah, Polkadot is made up of, I think we support over 150 different networks now, and a lot of them are linked kind of intrinsically via the relay chain, where if I want to participate in a prediction market on Zeitgeist, for instance, I need to be able to get the asset that I have at the moment, dot on the relay chain, to Zeitgeist, and so I can participate in dot market. And to do that, I need to use XCM to get my tokens there, but that needs to be something that's seamless, where we're competing with ecosystems that are single chain, where this kind of cross-chain step might not need to happen. So we need to kind of treat the Polkadot ecosystem as one large set of applications and make the transition of assets between chains as seamless as possible. And so that's what we've tried to do in the transport feature inside of the Talisman portal.
I also remember that Talisman right now is partnered with Ledger and also recently Decent, right?
Yeah.
Can you talk more about that? I'm curious.
Yeah, these are hardware wallets. So everyone knows Ledger
Yeah.
as like a primary provider of hardware wallets. And we've also partnered with Decent hardware wallet, which is quite a popular hardware wallet in the Korean market. We've kind of partnered with both of these providers so that they can have a seamless experience connecting to any dApp really that Talisman supports via their wallet that's on the hardware. So a Ledger user can go through a really smooth and intuitive connection flow onto Talisman, and then from there kind of try to sign a transaction off of a dApp that Talisman can connect to in the browser. And it's the same for Decent wallet, where a Decent user can use the sign flow to interact with any different application. And that really helps bring the set of users that already onboarded into Ledger or already onboarded into Decent into the Polkadot ecosystem and the applications that Talisman is integrated with.
So what are the upcoming features on the plan?
I think we're going to be doing more on this idea of really nuanced account management. So I would wait and see what's happening there, and also some more on the staking support inside of the portal. So we've had a lot of success with staking assets via nomination pools inside of the Talisman portal. I think we've seen a lot of kind of network participation attributed to the products that we've made there. So we're going to kind of lean in more to that use case and support some different assets and different staking protocols inside of Talisman and give that opportunity to our users.
Interesting. So I also I'm curious about you talked to me recently and your team that Talisman pushing it forward to expand to Ethereum. So I would love to know the reason behind it.
In this phase that we spoke about, where really the Polkadot ecosystem needs to kind of take the next step. We've shipped a lot of the features that we had set out to provide. Parachains are functioning. There are dozens of them now. A lot of the parachains that are currently having leases have managed to complete the functionality they set out to complete. So that kind of initial milestone is behind us, and the next step is to really bring a lot of users into these applications so they can see kind of what the value that this ecosystem can provide. And a lot of the usage at the moment is in Ethereum.
Right.
So we think it's an important role for us to play to kind of integrate well with the Ethereum ecosystem, kind of make it a seamless experience and a very easy, clear value proposition for those users to come to Polkadot and engage in the applications that are here.
That's right. Recently, your team, especially Ego, come up with a very, very interesting ideas about result funding base, right? Result-based funding, right? And it's got not too positive effect from that. So, but I believe that this would be a very interesting for the OpenGov in the next few years, maybe. So can you talk more about this proposal?
Yeah. So we floated a referendum on Polkadot. It's referendum ID 150, and it's passed now. So you can kind of go and look at the history of that. And I think it had quite a large portion of nay votes compared to yay votes. So the on-chain record is that it was that was the proportion of opinion, but really in engagements and our conversations with people, the idea had a lot of reception. And the idea was to kind of change the funding behavior in the Polkadot ecosystem from the treasury, where current behavior is kind of, let's say, deliverable based, where entities would approach the treasury and say, I'm going to basically ship this deliverable. If it's a software team like Talisman, say, we're going to build this feature, and they say it's going to take this many man hours, therefore I'm requesting X dollars. Or if it's a content creator, they'll say, I'm going to make this video. It's this many man hours, therefore I'm requesting Y dollars. And that's like a reasonable model in a lot of cases. But we think it's better and more healthy for the Polkadot treasury to have a relationship with its recipients that's kind of positive sum, where the funding model is less deliverable based, but actually results based. So we approached the treasury in the first iteration of what we like to call results based funding and said, we are doing a great job of getting DOT staked on the network, contributing to the network security. So don't fund us for making a staking feature and just the amount of man hours it took that, because anyone can just kind of make something and get the man hours, and it doesn't matter how that bit of software actually impacts the network.
Right.
We said, instead, judge us on the results that we achieve. If we build a staking product and not many DOT get staked through it, don't give us much money, because we didn't achieve a result for the network.
Right.
But if you build a staking feature that achieves a really amazing result for the network, gets a lot of DOT staked, contributing to the security, you should be rewarded in proportion to that. And that's a healthy relationship where the Polkadot treasury and the Polkadot ecosystem is only it guarantees them a positive return on the investment that they're making in the team. And another example kind of with the content creators might be, if I create a video and it goes really viral, it gets kind of millions and millions of impressions, I should be rewarded in proportion to that, because I've got a great result for the network. Whereas if I make a video and it doesn't make much of a splash and it doesn't end up onboarding many users, the network isn't going to remunerate that video as much as something that's really, really successful. And so we think this is a healthier relationship and a healthier kind of funding dynamic for treasuries like Polkadot.
What do you think about the current state of OpenGov right now, and what would you expect for that?
It's hard to say. OpenGov is kind of sapping a lot of attention from everybody. If you look at Polkadot communities and kind of a lot of discourse in the ecosystem, a large portion of it is focused on OpenGov and the current crop of proposals. So, in one sense, OpenGov has proved that it's a really effective way of kind of garnering people's attention in the ecosystem, where it's suddenly the most interesting dynamic around. There's this kind of pot of resources. Everyone is trying to propose ideas to get it, but there are a group of everyone is also thinking about the sustainability of the system, and I think it's kind of tickled the curiosity of a lot of people. So it's really interesting that Polkadot is kind of going out and taking a step into the unknown and trying something that's a little bit more community oriented in terms of a funding model. But at the same time, I have a feeling that we're spending too much time on this. Really, a lot of the attention should be on onboarding users, building novel applications, building novel ideas, and maybe if there was less attention on funding because we had a healthier pattern, that more people will be focused on building stuff and onboarding users into the ecosystem.
Right. So I believe that we have go through all the questions, all the important things here today. Before we end, do you think that we missed something? Do you have any addition for Talisman side?
Good question. I would implore people to, if they haven't already, install Talisman. And if they have Talisman, just make sure that you've got a version number that's above 1.19.0. And in all of the accounts that you have inside of the ecosystem, try and kind of create your own self-custody experience with what we've done with folders and multi-seat management. I think it's a real kind of step change in the way in which you can interact with wallets and organize your accounts and organize your portfolio. But it does take that bit of work. It's a little bit like when you're using your PC and your desktop just gets full of there's files and folders that you've downloaded everywhere, and you need to spend 10 minutes to just tidy up your file system on your computer and make it really lovely. And I think a lot of people are in a situation where they have just dozens of wallets from their past and that they need to tidy up. and really kind of make their Web3 experience that much more seamless. So I would encourage people to kind of just put all of their wallets inside of Talisman, whether it's from a hardware wallet, an air gapped like signing device on your phone, a seed phrase that you have as a hot wallet, even a watched account that you just want to add into your portfolio. You can just add it as like a watched address. I would encourage everyone to dump all of these into Talisman, and then use the folders and the account management system we've created to really kind of organize and curate your self-custody experience.
Right. By the way, thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's really nice to talk with you, and I hope that Talisman will get a lot of users bring to Polkadot in the future.
Yeah, that's the goal.
So thanks to you guys for being here, listening to Talisman, Johnathan, and Polkadot Insider. If you don't know anything about Talisman, or you want to if you have any question about Talisman, feel free to follow Talisman Discord, Twitters, and they are always supportive for you guys.
Of course.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.